president's State of the Union speech is the last to take place before the midterms, so expect him to address topics that will define elections across the country. So we're talking about the economy, trade and tariffs, and immigration. This comes amid the backdrop, of course, of the Supreme Court's ruling against his sweeping tariffs last week and the looming threat of potential military action against Iran. The president has been facing more pressure to focus on domestic issues, but he feels confident about his record.
So we have a country that's now doing well. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. We have the most activity we've ever had. I'm making a speech tomorrow night, and you'll be hearing me say that. I mean, it's going to be a long speech because we have so much to talk about.
A handful of Democrats have already indicated they won't be attending tonight. Last year, you'll remember, several Dems held protests, shouted objections, or simply walked out, prompting Democratic Senator John Fetterman to urge his fellow lawmakers to show better decorum this year. We may, though, see the USA men's hockey team at the speech. House Speaker Mike Johnson said yesterday he was trying to figure out logistics to accommodate them. The president invited the team to D.C. as they celebrated their historic win against Canada on Sunday.
Representing the U.S., obviously it's an honor, so we're ecstatic and we're excited to be back home celebrating.
It was super cool. It was an honor. You know, it really is hearing from the President of the United States, hearing that, he was supporting us and all the other athletes and wanting us all to bring home as many gold medals as we can. So we're definitely honored to represent him and the millions, hundreds of millions across the country and bringing a gold medal back.
Later this morning, Fox and Friends will be speaking with Zach Werenski, the hockey defenseman who dished out the assist that won Team USA the gold medal.
The President of the United States.
You can always count on Jerry to come in. Ninth inning in the pinch as we are hustling this morning. Turns out they've opened up flights back to D.C. We've been talking with our contacts inside the U.S. Capitol. We'll see. We'll see if we're inside the U.S. Capitol tonight or if we're here live streaming. Either way, we will be live with a Rowdy show for you, and we're very, very excited for this evening. The State of the Union. Last year, it was a joint address to Congress. This is the State of the Union. Ladies and gentlemen, the state of our union is strong in America. They're very positive and good signs. Obviously, it's been a rowdy and insane. I don't know, man. I don't know. Has this been the most insane start to any year in human history? Probably, I think, right? Probably, maybe since the Civil War. What could possibly be more life-changing than what's gone on in 2026. We are just in the last week of February, but 2026 has already been the single most bonkers year of my life. I just can't, everything from the Maduro black bagging, you got the Epstein list that dropped, the millions of files, sort of changed the world over. A guy on the Epstein list arrested last night, Peter Mendelsohn, he was the ambassador to the United States of America. This is like the architect of left-wing ideology inside of England. He was arrested. A Finnish or Swedish prime minister tried to kill himself last night because he was on the Epstein list. The changes, obviously, the world over. The entire resetting of the global order. It's insane. AI. America winning. America winning and defeating Canada, the men and women. And we're excited to see them tonight, whether in person or here from our humble studio. So either way, it has just been a rowdy couple of weeks. And my goodness, what's going to happen next? Mexico is in total and complete collapse. As a bit of a contrast to America, Mexico is in a state of total lockdown terror. And we're going to cover that today on the program because it's critically important. And if you're planning on traveling there or if you have a loved one there, then we're just going to ask you to please, pay attention and heed these warnings. We're going to go through the potential kidnapping threat and a senator saying that Americans are being hunted, and for good reason, obviously. Not for good reason that they're being hunted, but the cartels are going to try and exact vengeance. El Mencho, the most powerful, arguably, cartel leader, was killed with the assistance of American special forces, according to the White House. And so now they are going to look to obviously seek revenge against Americans. And we are fearful for our fellow Americans. And so we say all of this as a major warning. We want all Americans to be safe and sound. Trump will hold the State of the Union tonight at 9 p.m. sharp. So get ready. Join us live. We'll be live at approximately 7 p.m. We have a stacked show for you. Senator Mike Lee and Chip Roy will join us today, as will the owner of Johnny's Seafood that responded to the Huffington Post, go F yourselves, when they posted a America-hating tripe, and they went thermonuclear viral and ratioed the Huffington Post. So we're happy to have some seafood patriots on the show. They've had a rowdy 24 hours, and so have we. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Joey and Blokes. Joey and Blokes. Joey and Blokes. I was asked if this is Australian. The answer is yes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to feel rested and to have sort of your life back, if you want to break out of zero energy, zero motivation, if you want a gut that, that is able to process the food and not instead feel bloated and weighed down, ladies and gentlemen, Joey and Blokes might be for you. Blokes was built for men who's tired of feeling like a shadow of who they used to be. That dad bod, brain fog, I felt that, man. And the fact that you'd rather sleep than spend time with your wife or family. These aren't character flaws, they are symptoms. And they can be directly tied to your hormones. Every Blokes lab includes a 30 to 60-minute consultation with a licensed clinician. Getting these labs can change your life. It certainly did for me. Getting tested for everything from vitamin D to testosterone levels, getting tested for all of your vitamins and seeing what you're missing in your diet. This kind of stuff is incredibly critical. Ladies and gentlemen, Blokes Labs can make sure that you are on the level and can help you with figuring out what prescriptions or what assistance you may need in balancing out your lifestyle. Again, we live in a toxic world. Reverse that. It's time to stop settling. Go to joeyandblokes.com/Benny and use the code Benny for 65% off your labs and 20% off all supplements. That's joeyandblokes.com/Benny. Code Benny for 65% off your labs and 20% off supplements. Joey and Blokes can get your edge back. Okay. We've been following this very, very closely, what's happening in Mexico, because what happened yesterday was sort of our biggest fear, was that this is going to descend into an all-out war on American soil. We have long warned, and I have very, very mixed feelings, sort of, about Israel and Gaza, and we've talked through it on the show. It's like, it is what it is. But here's the thing that I can empathize and sympathize with, because I've been down to our border many, many times. You don't want terrorists living across the border from you. You don't want that. It's going to end poorly for you. Eventually, things are going to pop off, and that's what we saw yesterday. Check this out. This is San Diego. That's San Diego. You see the wall right there? You see that wall? That's Trump's wall. See the other side of the fence? That's America. And this is how close we are, and arguably we are currently right now experiencing major cartel violence all throughout America. And of course, it just doesn't get covered enough, but we've all seen the rampages and the scourges of cartel violence throughout our nation. Nonetheless, this is how close we are to the cartels waging war on our soil. Arguably, they already are. There are millions and millions of pounds of fentanyl that moves into our country, hundreds of thousands of fentanyl deaths, along, of course, with the total wholesale takeover of blocks, cities, and towns by cartels and their agents in our country because Joe Biden opened our border to these people. It's bad to live next to a terrorist state. It's something that's, again, going to bleed over into your country and harm your people. And look at this. The cartels are setting the roads ablaze because El Mencho, one of the most powerful cartel leaders, was yeeted. And they're going to start exacting revenge and vengeance on Americans because the White House claimed assistance in this killing. How many Americans live in Mexico? 1.6 million Americans live inside of Mexico. They're American citizens. They reside in Mexico. How many Americans visit Mexico every single year? Well, there's 40 million outbound trips from America to Mexico every single year. That is a ton of Americans that are putting themselves in jeopardy, that are putting their lives at risk right now. And so we're here to say a couple of things. One, maybe Trump will talk about this, but President Trump was right. Here's what Donald Trump said
I wonder
about Claudia Sheinbaum, the very mysterious and nefarious president of Mexico. You remember she gave some whinging speech when Donald Trump claimed it was the Gulf of America, not the Gulf of Mexico. And when Donald Trump, when he blackbagged Nicolas Maduro, said Claudia Sheinbaum is not a real president. She's actually a functionary of the cartels. She's not running Mexico. The cartels are
Mr. President, I want to ask you because from your Vice President, J.D. Vance, said that the message is pretty clear. The drug trafficking must stop. So was this operation a message that you're sending to Mexico, to Claudia Sheinbaum, the president there?
Well, it wasn't meant to be, and we're very friendly with her. She's a good woman, but the cartels are running Mexico. She's not running Mexico. The cartels are running Mexico. And we could be politically correct and be nice and say, oh, yes, she is. No, she's very, she's very frightened of the cartels. They're running Mexico. And I've asked her numerous times, would you like us to take out the cartels? No, Mr. President. No, please. So we have to do something because we lost. The real number is 300,000 people, in my opinion. They like to say 100,000. 100,000 is a lot of people, but the real number is 300,000 people. And we lost it to drugs, and they come in through the southern border, mostly the southern border. Plenty come in through Canada, too, by the way, in case you don't know.
We have exacted our revenge on Canada, obviously, by stealing their sport. You can't take our sport. You can't take our country. We can take both, and you can have Katy Perry. Ladies and gentlemen, Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau, I guess, are pregnant? I don't know if that's the setup for the Antichrist. I have no idea. I'm not sure. But I couldn't imagine that's going to work out great for everyone. Anyway, Justin Trudeau is no longer running Canada. Claudia Sheinbaum is running Mexico. And you really wonder, why is Mexico in a state of absolute and total collapse? What exactly do I mean by that? I mean, here we go. This is the State Department travel advisory begging Americans, don't go to Mexico. You will be kidnapped because of terrorism. Now, as of time of recording, thank God, and look at this, kidnapping or hostage taking. This is from the State Department. Many violent crimes take place in Mexico. They include homicide, kidnapping, carjacking, and robbery. There's a risk to terrorism and violence, and we can't help you. If you are in certain parts of Mexico, we cannot help you. Something that I've wanted to do as just sort of a public service announcement, because look at Mexico. The red and orange are places where they're saying, do not travel to. The yellow are places that you should really reconsider travel to. Well, what would that be? Red, orange, and yellow. That's the entire nation, effectively. That's the whole nation. It's like two little, Cozumel? I don't know. Two little places that you can travel to. Just take normal precautions. Reconsider travel, exercise increased caution, do not travel. Look at this. And the government is straight up saying, and they go through a whole list of how you can be kidnapped in Mexico because they're very, very nervous. Caroline Leavitt, I think we have that clip just moments ago at the White House, was out saying, we're really excited. We're really proud of the fact that we helped target and lead to the apprehension. And then he died El Mencho's his name, the cartel leader. He died under mysterious circumstances. He was being taken in a plane back. He died on the plane trip. So I don't know if he sustained an injury or something when they took him. Who knows? These people are incredibly violent. A lot of these gangs are satanic gangs. Anyway, like Mexico is just in an absolute state of collapse. the reason why they want American hostages and the reason why they're taking Puerto Vallarta, for instance, and taking over the entire city. I mean, scenes of just absolute terror and horror at the airport. I mean, look at this insanity. Just a couple of clips here, like tourists stuck on the beach, post-apocalyptic scenes everywhere, setting the cars ablaze, digging up roads. And look at this. This is a map of the terrorist attacks that have taken place across Mexico. Don't go to Mexico right now. We're going to have the State of the Union address on America tonight. America's doing great. Don't go to Mexico. Mexico's doing really, really bad. Absolute and total chaos. This dude said he did a documentary on the cartel leader. This is the cartel leader. Last known photograph. I once spent 5 days with Mexican cartels to make a docuseries. They were the scariest, most ruthless people I've ever been around. Their value for life was non-existent. This guy was the most ruthless of them of all. Americans fleeing, running on the tarmac. This would have been Klein and I yesterday as our flight was canceled. Again, we'll see if we make it today. Who knows? Who knows? Every flight was canceled. Everybody that I know is in D.C. had to effectively drive to D.C. And some of those people are within driving distance. We are not. So whatever. Flights are being turned around. The vast majority of flights, thousands of flights were turned around into heading from America into Mexico. Again, these people are on the other side of the border. They're setting buses on fire, and now they're using heavy earth movers to dig up the roads. The reason why they're doing this is they're trapping hundreds of thousands at least, inside of Puerto Vallarta. This is a famous and very popular tourist destination. They are creating no way in, no way out. They're now digging up the roads and blockading the entire city. What do you think happens next? It's horrifying. I think what this will possibly resort to is Vietnam-style evacuations via military helicopter. We'll see. Mexican cartel is literally blowing up shit, and people wonder why we want secure borders. That's exactly right. And this is what the views look like from the resorts there. It's horrifying. Obviously, there have been some great independent journalists who've been capturing. Dan Dix is one of them who've been capturing sort of all the people trying to flee.
At the concierge desk here at the hotel, people are waiting for hours and hours and hours. Obviously, a whole bunch of flights have been canceled. There is a massive, massive backlog at the airport, and as you can see, there were dozens and dozens of people there waiting in line for hours and hours.
It's very, very bad. You should follow that guy. It's great reporting. There's been tons of independent reports. Do not travel to Mexico, says this dude. He lives in Mexico. You got to be out of your mind to travel to Mexico. This guy says it's about to get way worse, like what you're seeing on the news. Like they're trying to shut this all down to protect their tourism industry. Without the tourism industry and American remittances, Mexico is like a poorer state than Somalia. They're trying to protect the tourism industry. These are the most viral National Lampoon's Mexican Vacation. Get ready for some unfortunate turbulence. We are stuck here in Mexico.
Stuck in Puerto Vallarta.
Careful.
Due to...
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, don't
Am I allowed to say this on TikTok?
A hostage.
What? Cartel, kidnapping, retaliation. It's actually not funny at all.
Am I allowed to say this on TikTok?
Due to a cartel leader being captured yesterday and potentially... and now there's stuff going on all over the city. Flights are canceled. We couldn't even...
But at least they still got their club music and margarita machine still working. They say that they're running out of food. People are saying that there's no way out of Puerto Vallarta right now. They're closing down all of the roads. I think what happens next, like what could happen next would be very, very scary. The Mexican military needs to get in there and reconquer the city right now. Obviously, we were very, very concerned about this. I did want to make a note because I know that we made a production mistake last night. We produced a short video where I used a video from Tracy Lane in this account that I was not familiar with at the time. Tracy Lane is somebody who is an awesome content creator. I followed her this morning, and I incorrectly used a video of her talking about the irony here that liberals, and I just want to apologize to Tracy Lane. I sent her a message this morning. Sorry that I incorrectly used that video and I took down the content. But there are tons of people who clearly are left-wingers who are trapped in Mexico next to the cartels. And I'm struck by the irony of the fact that these people who are, this is the view out of their resort window, that left-wingers, not Tracy Lane, who's an awesome patriot, but left-wingers will scream for help, demand help from the U.S. government to get the hell out of this cartel violence. And as soon as they head back to Minnesota or California or Massachusetts, as soon as they land back home, they'll immediately post ICE out propaganda on their social media pages. They'll immediately fight Trump building a border wall to keep this out of your neighborhood. I was just struck by the irony of it all, that these leftists and libs and people from blue states, people from New York, I'm seeing a lot of this, that are screaming for help right now, are going to immediately return and then do everything that they possibly can to prevent the Trump administration, vote against it, donate against it, march in the streets, give up their lives in some circumstances in order to keep the cartel members here in America. It's the cognitive dissonance that I can't figure out. This is the thing I can't understand. And the more you reduce modern day leftism and leftist ideology to its common denominator, it is just total cognitive dissonances holding two ideas that are competing and countervailing and that can't be both true at the same time in your mind. If you don't like the cartels in Mexico, you shouldn't like the cartels in America. How about taking a moment and being thankful for ICE and our administration and like saying a prayer for the people that have to live like this every single day? You know, there are Mexicans that are real. You know, Mexicans are real, right? And they have to like live under this threat all the time. And that's probably why there's so damn many of them in America, because this threat is reduced, but not zero, based on you and your policies for open borders. So I was like furious about that yesterday. Anyway, we made a production mistake and used a video, read that in a short video that was not that. So okay. We want to be accurate, and we also, you know, sucks to eat crow sometimes and humble pie, and but we always want to apologize when we make a mistake. We make plenty of them. So anyway, but this isn't a mistake. Like, what it is an accurate depiction of what every left-winger will do as soon as they get rescued and back home from this. They will immediately go back to posting about how evil ICE is and how all of the cartel members that live in their neighborhoods are newcomers that we should welcome. No, we shouldn't. This ideology is what kills people. And this is, I'm going to play you this clip. It's insane. This is, you want to know why things have gone so off the chain in Mexico and why senators, Bernie Moreno is one of them. Bernie Moreno is a senator from Ohio. He says Americans are being hunted right now. Narco-terrorists are hunting down Americans, Senator warns. Well, this dude's on the Intelligence Committee. He's probably been briefed on this. So, like, heed your warnings, right? At time of recording, I do not know if we have if we know of an American hostage situation. I don't know. But there's been like major warnings from our government screaming that this is where we're headed. So I'm worried about it. Anyway, Bernie Moreno warned that narco-terrorists in Mexico were hunting down American citizens following the killing of El Mencho. Moreno's claims that Americans are being targeted and the chaos ensues. The drug trafficking organizations in Mexico have been responsible for significant violence in Mexico. He was killed by Mexican federal forces. That's a fact. But Caroline Leavitt saying that we helped a lot. And the reason why we had to help is because Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum says that killing cartel members violates their civil rights.
Sin ningún juicio. Y defienden la guerra contra el narco. La guerra contra el narco está fuera de la ley, porque como lo dije o lo he dicho en varias ocasiones, es permiso para matar, sin ningún juicio. Y eso en México nadie o muy poquitos.
Got it. Okay, well, that's enraging. A little bit of a different attitude here from Caroline Leavitt this morning. Let's go.
Secretary Rubio and the State Department are absolutely on it. We hear from Americans directly who are in Mexico because the State Department immediately set up 24/7 phone lines, and they're taking hundreds of calls a day, providing Americans on the ground with travel support and advice. The State Department also has issued new travel advisories, and they'll continue to update those as the situation progresses. So we encourage all Americans in Mexico to, of course, adhere to the guidance provided by the State Department. Right now, we are unaware of any reports of any Americans being hurt, kidnapped, or killed, and the Mexican drug cartels know not to lay a finger on a single American, or they will pay severe consequences under this president. And they already are. This operation, which was carried out successfully by the Mexican authorities, was, of course, supported by the United States, would not have happened without the leadership of President Trump. He has made it a day one priority to target and go after these vicious drug cartels that have shipped deadly poison to our country for far too long. He signed an executive order to rightfully designate them as foreign terrorist organizations. We've seen the president take unilateral lethal action against drug boats sailing through the Caribbean. And now, of course, we are coordinating and cooperating and pushing the Mexican government to do more to end the scourge of deadly drugs coming through our United States southern border, which, of course, is now secure thanks to President Trump as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pro-life administration, the strongest of my lifetime, and something that you should take extremely seriously, and certainly I do, and that's why we're doing a whole show warning people don't travel to Mexico. We have some more very, very disturbing news about Claudia Sheinbaum and who she is and who controls her. A massive bombshell last night was dropped live on Fox News by a Mexican senator who decided to take her life into her own hands and come out and expose Claudia Sheinbaum as being a puppet of the narco-terrorist, matching effectively what President Trump has said for a very long time. Anyway, we are pro-life. We want you to have your life, to keep your life. We obviously want dignity throughout all of life, including at the moment of conception, something that my wife and I are going to see on our first ultrasound and for our new child tomorrow. Very excited about that. Oh, man. They're awesome. Have you experienced an ultrasound? Have you ever gone to one and seen your child's heartbeat? You know, science still doesn't actually know how it all happens. There's still no explanation as to how life is formed in all species. There's no true explanation. There's no true, like, binaries, ones and zeros explanation. Is it a miracle of God? It just is. It's amazing how the people that get into the sciences, whether it's Galileo or Max Planck or Albert Einstein, how they always come to the conclusion that the mathematical beauty of the universe can only be described in a creator. And that creator wants us to create more life. It's the first thing that he tells us, in fact, in Genesis. The first order from God, the first time God spaketh to Adam, is go be fruitful and multiply. Tend to my garden, be fruitful and multiply. Help people multiply with preborn, ladies and gentlemen. Help young women who may be in tough situations get their first ultrasound. You can help pay for one. With preborn, they provide tens of thousands of ultrasounds for free every single year. 80,000 actually, just last year. 80,000? It's amazing. I mean, that's a genocide. If you lose that number of people, you can save that number of people, and you can be part of it. These ultrasounds are an image. It's the image of God, because we are made in God's image. Two things that God says when he makes us: that we're different from the animals, that he made us like God. He made us like himself. We are made in God's image, and that God wants us to make more and to create more. So, anyway, it means a lot to me, obviously. Going in for our ultrasound, give the gift of an ultrasound to a young mother who might need to hear her baby's heartbeat for the very first time. Something holy can happen. Preborn donors share this powerful truth that My mother chose life, and that's why I'm here. Help other mothers do that too. For just $28, you can provide a life-saving ultrasound. Let's make this year the biggest for baby saving in history. Call pound 250 and say the word baby. That's pound 250 and say the word baby. Visit preborn.com/Benny. That's preborn.com/Benny. All right. Sorry for the overly emotional nature of that. I'm just I actually become overwhelmed with emotion when I think about we're on our 5th child. It's like so awesome. It's like the great, like you could lose everything. And if you have your kids in your family, like you are the richest man on earth. And I feel like that, quite frankly. I'm just profoundly thankful. And this is why, like, we don't want anybody to obviously have an unnecessary and needless loss of life. I did want to jump on over here very quickly here and cover that this corrupt, like deeply corrupt Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, who talks about how killing cartel members, who again are vicious, satanic, demonic. A lot of these gangs, like MS-13, they're satanic gangs. I mean, it's like well documented. This is like the Epstein stuff. A lot of people read between the lines with Epstein. Like this stuff is like extremely documented. These are the most evil people on earth. Anyway, Mexican leaders around the country stand up against the cartels. They get killed. The president does absolutely nothing. I'm not a criminal. Mexican politician suspected of being in bed with cartels. If you're in power in Mexico, there's no doubt that you are in bed with cartels. And it's a system that needs to collapse. Trump administration is planning new mission in Mexico against the cartels. U.S. officials say, you can't stop me. Trump has chilling warning to Mexico. And now, today, well, less than 24 hours ago, you have on national TV a senator from Mexico straight up detailing precisely how the current president is owned and operated through these evil organizations. It makes a ton of sense if you look at the way that the government is actually approaching these cartels. And it makes a ton of sense if you look at actually what's happened to Mexico when you kill one cartel leader. Does it seem like they're responding? Here's why.
The president of Mexico is furious. She's calling Mexican Senator Lili Tellez a traitor for coming on Fox Noticias with me a few days ago and saying this. Listen.
The help from the United States to fight the cartels in Mexico is absolutely welcome, and that is how the majority of Mexicans feel. The only ones who don't like that President Trump is sending help and trying to support Mexicans against the cartels are the narco politicians. That includes President Sheinbaum.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responding, saying, quote, it's not a minor issue that a senator gave an interview to a foreign media outlet calling for intervention.
Oh, okay. Let's see if it's an issue. Let's bring Senator Tellez onto the program and listen to what she has to say. Ladies and gentlemen, on our program, Senator Mike Lee will be joining in just a moment. He has some creative ways to take care of the cartels, and we're going to talk with him about it. Okay, so let's hear what the senator has to say. Again, she's taking her life in her own hands. People that speak out against the cartels in Mexico, they get killed. Let's listen to what she has to say in describing how the president operates. Again, President Claudia Sheinbaum, big-time Trump hater, big-time America hater, vicious and deeply unpopular leader. Here we go.
Senator Tellez, welcome to Fox Noticias. I'm just going to get right to it. Is Mexico a narco state?
Yes, it is. And we all Mexicans know about it. And Mexicans are afraid of the alliance between the Mexican government and the cartels that have infested our nation.
Can you explain this alliance between the president, her party, the Morena party, and the cartels?
Yes, the party has financed, has given, the cartels have given so much money to these politicians, narco politicians of Morena, to get into office, to get the power. So they protect the Mexican government protects the cartels. That is why President Sheinbaum doesn't want the strong American leadership to help Mexico defeat the cartels. And also, Sheinbaum doesn't want the rest of the world to know what is happening here in Mexico. We are on the steps to be the next Venezuela. She is aligned with Venezuela's dictator, with Cuba, and we are losing our country. They have destroyed our Republican institutions, the democratic state, and we must. I think we all Mexicans want and welcome the support of the United States to assist Mexican people against the cartels that have us all in this crisis with the traffic in fentanyl and migrants.
Man, we'll see. We'll see what happens. To me, it seems like President Trump has been looking for an opportunity in order to take out the cartels. It seems like President Trump has been itching and wanting for an opportunity to engage in some manner of kinetic action across the border in Mexico. Obviously, Venezuela worked out kind of great for Donald Trump. Things seem to be really solid there. And in Panama, I mean, throughout the entire region, there are right-wing victories throughout all of South America. For the first time in your lifetime or mine, it is the nationalist right that is on the march and not the communist left through South America. Communist left is in total and complete retreat. Panama just voted, I think it was a Supreme Court vote, if you can pull this up. Panama just voted to kick out China entirely from the Panama Canal and to give effectively the Panama Canal back to America, which is insane. W for Trump. This was something that broke this morning. And again, this is something that is deeply regional and is a huge sea change throughout the continent. This is sort of a take on the Monroe Doctrine, the Don Roe Doctrine, which is that you need to be the master of your own hemisphere. You need to be in control. If you are an actual hegemon, if you are an actual superpower, an empire, you need to control Europe or Africa or the Middle East or our continent, which is America, the Americas. And I think that Trump has ought right to do that. So Panama seizes two key canals. Is this from this morning? Great. Two key canal ports from Hong Kong operator following Supreme Court ruling. Okay, the Panamanian government is kicking out China from controlling. I mean, how China was able to sink their claws and teeth into the most important lock and port system in all of the world. I don't know. It's incredibly stupid that we even signed a 100-year lease for the Panama Canal. If we built it, of course, people of Panama, no hate, but absolutely could not have built the Panama Canal by themselves. If it is American ingenuity and blood and sweat and valor that built the Panama Canal, why the hell would we ever give it back? Frankly, it was sovereign American territory. So was Greenland was sovereign American territory because we were the administrators of Greenland during World War II. We should not be giving these things back. It was stupid and weak. So anyway, things are going well for us there, and it is Mexico now that is in toil. It seems like Donald Trump wanting an opportunity in order to sort that all out. Mike Lee has an opinion on this and perhaps a solution on how to rid the cartels from Mexico. A very Sicario level solution, kind of badass. It's called Letters of Marque. And we haven't talked about this in a very long time, so we're glad to have the senator back on to elucidate for us what this could all mean. Senator Mike Lee, live now. Senator, welcome back to the program. Okay, so cartels in Mexico. How is it that President Trump could rid the world of these evil satanic people and do so in a way that's kind of kick-ass and from the 1800s?
One of the enumerated powers of Congress is found in Article 1, Section 8, gives us the power to grant letters of marque and reprisal. That's why I've introduced a bill called the Cartel Marque and Reprisal Authorization Act. I'm the Senate author and sponsor, and my counterpart in the House is Representative Tim Burchett of Tennessee. Fantastic individual. Look, letters of marque and reprisal have, since the American founding, allowed the United States through the Congress to authorize privateers to go after organizations, criminal organizations, take loot, whether on land or on sea, return to the United States and receive a premium from the United States for their capture. So this is a way that the United States could do more with less by harnessing the power of individuals to act when authorized to act by the U.S. Congress. So, ever since Mexican security forces were able to kill El Mencho, the head of the murderous CJNG gang, Cartel in Mexico, we've seen our southern neighbor plunge into this awful chaos of violence and terror attacks, all kinds of retaliatory activity. It's really scary that we share a border with a country that's in the thralls of this awful disruption and under the grip of narco-terrorists who are responsible for the deaths of many, many Americans and for immense suffering throughout their own country in Mexico. And so it's one of the many reasons why we need letters of marque and reprisal now more than ever.
So then this would just be effectively like hunting pirates, right? Like, was this the last time that this was used?
Yeah, so it's been a very long time since we've used it. It was fairly common at the American founding. We've hardly used it since then. But the point is that we allow people through a letter of marque and reprisal issued by Congress, they can go and they can take their assets, and insofar as they're able to return to the United States with them, they can receive a reward when they get back to the United States with those assets.
So then this sounds like a perfect opportunity for like an Eric Prince or for some other operator to go and solve a problem across the border in Mexico. Because I see these guys, like, they're flexing with all their gear and they're flexing with all this tactical gear. Like, they have no training, they have no tech, they have no AI, they have like no discombobulator. I think that you could actually, defeat the cartels relatively easily with a properly trained force.
Yeah, well, we could certainly degrade them. Now, look, let's not mince words here. We got to be clear about the fact that these are sophisticated entities. Many of them do have training. A lot of them do have pretty sophisticated equipment. I don't doubt, but that they were able to use all kinds of high-tech tools, including but not limited to artificial intelligence, to do what they need to do. Remember, Benny, the United States government from 2021 through 2024 enriched these cartels to the tune of many tens of billions of dollars through Biden's open border policies. They brought in 10 to 15 million illegal immigrants into this country. For every single one of those individuals, they got paid many thousands of dollars. In some circumstances, it was into the tens of thousands of dollars per head. And that's why we know that they reaped this huge windfall. With that windfall, they were able to further escalate on the human trafficking front and simultaneously dual task it as part of their drug trafficking operation. So we have enriched them. Our government, through the Biden administration, helped them get very rich and very powerful. And with that wealth and power, they were able to acquire a lot of what we would call weapons of war. And so these are to be taken very seriously. I'm not going to pretend that any effort to defeat them would be easy. But if we were to pass this legislation, the Cartel Marque and Reprisal Authorization Act, I think it would be a step in the right direction toward weakening them, defending our own shores and seizing cartel assets.
I'm just still sort of hopped up on the discombobulator. I'm sorry, Senator. I mean, like, I don't pretend. I didn't serve in the military. I don't pretend to be an expert on these things, but it was just really exciting to read now some very detailed long form on what happened with the capture of Nicolas Maduro. I mean, it's just some of the most badass stuff I've ever read in my life. It's just really impressive. It makes you proud to be an American. We're defeating the Canadians in hockey, both men and women's teams. It just makes you proud to be American. Most gold medals that we've ever won in the Olympics. It's just like, I know a lot of great athletes, obviously from Utah and from your state. It just makes you proud to be an American. And I just kind of like, and it's just really selfish of me. I want to see the discombobulator in action, right? Like, I'd like to see it, I'd like to see it in the daytime. Yeah. So it's a kind of selfish.
Or at night. Anytime you can get a look at that.
I just want to,
it's time well spent.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's move forward here to the SAVE Act. I mean, obviously, you got what you promised us last time you were on the show, live in DC. You said, we are going to get 50. And here's 50. And so Susan Collin comes around, and who knows, what might happen next. But, like, you have the 50 votes, and now we push to the talking filibuster. You've sort of detailed exactly how that would work, but perhaps you could give us a status update on where the Senate is right now in initiating that process, because if you have 50, that's great, but it still won't, of course, beat a traditional zombie filibuster.
Right. That's a choice that we've got to make. That's something that we have to affirmatively do because it won't occur by default. So look, the biggest thing that we're facing right now is uncertainty. And we've got to get Republican senators, ideally all 50, if not more, but at least those 50 who are now supportive of the Save America Act, need to become comfortable with the idea that we need to take to the floor. We need to make the Democrats who want to filibuster this bill speak. It shouldn't be that complicated. It's not that complicated. It just takes a fair amount of time. And it's something that hasn't been done in several decades, but it can be done. Remember, Benny, when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was enacted, they had to overcome what I call a cloture deficit that's much bigger than what we're facing here. We are right now 10 votes shy of achieving cloture. In the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the day it passed the House of Representatives, it had a cloture deficit of about 26 votes. They closed that on a bill that's much more complicated than the Save America Act, on a bill that, while it was growing in popularity at the time and had a simple majority of Americans behind it, it wasn't nearly as overwhelmingly popular as the Save America Act is today, where we're at 85% of Americans who support it. So I think it should be easier to close that gap by putting it on the floor, making the senators wanting to filibuster it actually speak. Nothing focuses the mind quite like having to speak day after day in order to delay and oppose an overwhelmingly popular piece of legislation as to which there are no legitimate public policy arguments. So that's what we want to do. We are expected this week to be voting on some legislation to keep the Department of Homeland Security funded. The Democrats defunded that. It's understandable why we'd want to address that right away. But as soon as we're off of that bill, I hope and continue to ask my colleagues that we turn next to the Save America Act, we put it on the floor, and we make the Democrats filibuster by speaking.
So, but where does that stand in the process, right? So we've explained this. Where's John Thune's? This would ultimately be a call for Republican leadership, correct? And we haven't really seen anything other than, head fakes. Trying to play nice here, but we haven't seen any declarative strategy. John Thune said he supports it. Obviously, you can't not support this if you're a Republican or if you're anybody with common sense. But where's the chess pieces now, Senator?
Yeah. I think he is speaking truthfully when he says that he will bring it up on the Senate floor and it will get a vote. He has not yet spoken with any degree of conclusiveness as to whether he will enforce the talking filibuster, whether he'll require the filibustering senators to speak. But he is looking at it, and I think in looking at it, he's trying to figure out whether we've got enough of our Senate Republicans who are willing to stand up for this, to defend it, to aggressively debate it while the Democrats are engaging in the talking filibuster. So the more senators we can get on board with that, the more senators who support the Save America Act, who are willing to say, yes, I believe we should make any senator wanting to filibuster this bill, doesn't have to commit us on every bill, but on this particular bill, the Save America Act, we want every senator who backs it to come out and say, let's make them speak if they want to filibuster.
Think Trump will bring it up tonight at the State of the Union?
I certainly hope so. I've talked to the president a lot about this. I know it's important to the president, and I think there's a very good chance he brings it up tonight. And I hope he'll bring it up, not just bring up the bill, but also demand that the Senate enforce the talking filibuster on this bill.
Yes, because honestly, who cares if you get 50 people to support something that's clearly going to die without 60 votes? Like, this doesn't matter. Like, it's just lip service, and the Republican base is so fatigued on that, honestly, Senator.
Right. And if they hadn't done this in the context of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which would have been easy for them to do, if they had just said, well, we can't get to cloture, we're 26 votes shy, it would never have happened. But they did do it. They said, let's make them speak. It took them a number of weeks to get it done. But sure enough, it sharpened the minds of the senators having to filibuster day after day against a bill that was growing in popularity among the American people. And we know how it ended.
Well, we would like for many of the cartel members to see their end by looking at this photograph, by looking at this image. This is the last thing we want vicious, satanic cartel members to see here on this earthly plane. This should be the last. This should be the thing that is seared into their minds. Mike Lee wearing a powdered wig, which would look great on you right now. Yes, with a colonial uniform on.
It would. Now, that looks like something, one of my first experiments with AI, with Grok-assisted image generation that I posted on Base Mike Lee a few months ago. That's pretty good. I do look fairly good in the powdered wig. Maybe we should bring those back.
Just one more. Just one more. What the Mike Lee podcast looks like. Nobody knows their Constitution better than Mike Lee. Seems like a photorealistic and accurate take here.
Well, that one, I'm just going to say, I look pretty chunky there. It looks like I've been hitting the pizza a little too hard on that one.
That's right. Careful, right? Careful. Super Bowl Sunday is long past. Now it's time to lock in. Lock in and follow Based Mike Lee. Obviously, one of the most important accounts you can the most important account I think you can follow in the Senate, and one of the most important accounts in the entire federal government. And thank you, Senator. 700,000 followers for Based Mike Lee right here. And we'll see you tonight one way or the other at the State of the Union, Senator. Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Benny.
God bless you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the golden era on display tonight at the State of the Union. We'll see what happens. Advantage Gold will be there to help you in your golden era. Obviously, there are ups and downs right now. Crypto market, other alternatives and alt markets. I'm not here to be a hater, and I'm not a hater. I'm really not. I want everybody to be happy and to be secure and to live out their American dream. I'm just simply stating that this is a moment when you should diversify into something that has withstood the test of time, which is gold. And gold, given to the Christ child all the way through to today, has held its value. Frankincense and myrrh, I don't really know. I haven't checked on the frankincense and myrrh markets. But I know gold has had a spectacular couple of years. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time. You can flip your 401k or IRA into backed gold accounts. 100% legal and 100% smart, tax-free and penalty-free strategy. It's IRS approved. Physical gold and silver. Get started today. Text Advantage Gold by texting Benny to 85545 right now. That's BENNY to 85545 right now. You'll instantly get a free gold investment kit sent right to your inbox. Don't wait while the rally keeps breaking records. Text Benny to 85545 right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Solid gold, always Chip Roy, ready, locked, loaded, and set. It's got a big old primary coming up in the state of Texas as well. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chip Roy to the program. Chip, that Senate's got to get their act together. They got to do it, man. I mean, you gave them everything that they needed. Got 50. I'm very sorry, Congressman. We can't hear you right now. Yep. Let's see.
Now you can.
There you go. Now we got you. Thank you. Sorry
about
that.
Well, I was trying not to make noise while Mike Lee was on. I didn't want to interrupt the brilliance.
From the top. Thank you, Congressman.
Yeah, no, look, it was great to follow Mike. Mike is one of my best friends in Washington, one of my best friends in the world. Mike and I obviously jointly introduced the SAVE Act, now the Save America Act. And you already summarized that. I don't need to repeat it, but the Senate is the question. Look, I think we're in a very good spot if the majority leader will put it on the floor. Mike's already laid it out. That's the issue. We are not asking for the rules to change. We're not asking to nuke the filibuster in this instance. That's worthy of a debate in and of itself. But let me say one thing I'm not sure Mike addressed because I didn't see the whole interview. We actually think it's a really important prophylactic to lean into the talking filibuster against the Democrats' almost certain efforts to nuke the filibuster, right? They were 2 votes away before. Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, they held the line. But Democrats are going to do it to make D.C. a state, to pack the court. We think if we engage the talking filibuster, that it will not only help us with the Save America Act, it might assert for the American people that that's the way to handle the filibuster and not let Democrats nuke it. And so I think it's an important step forward to restore the Senate, but also actually pass the Save America Act.
Can you give us a quick whip count? Now, we've heard that Susan Collins, of course, came on board. That was last week. It's very important. So we're set at 50. And then obviously you could call in J.D. Vance, so you have yourself a simple majority. You have enough to pass if you engage the talking filibuster. This is correct. This is correct strategy. Are the pieces on the board? Have I set that up correctly?
That is correct, with one critical component here that if I want to give some courtesy to the leadership to figure out how to do it, there's 2 variables. Number one is the DHS funding bill. Because if once we move to the Save America Act, then we have to ride that horse, right? We got to force out the time, exhaust them. We got to go through the whole process. If we've done that before we do the DHS funding bill, and then we need to do the funding for TSA, for the Coast Guard, for FEMA, Border Patrol and ICE, to the extent we're not using big, beautiful bill money, then we'd have to go back and it resets the clock. So that's a strategic, question. The second part about having 50, we have 50 who support the bill. Do we have 50 who are absolutely in for the fight, to be there on call, to show up when we need to present a quorum, to stick through the fight through the bitter end? Look, that's not clear. We, the people, are going to have to demand that and force them to actually stand up and fight. I think on an 85% issue like this, where the American people want Congress to stand with the president to deliver substantive change, to defend our sovereign nation, to make sure we have faith in our elections, and to reclaim our country, I think it's worth the fight, and we need to force the senators to do it.
Yeah, not to be unnecessarily cruel here, so I'm not going to name any names, but there are a lot of senators who can't even stand. So, like, if you're saying, like, stand up and fight, like, there's a lot of senators who, like, constantly trip and fall and look just like Joe Biden, frankly. And it's like an embarrassing rebuke of how our federal government operates.
Well, this is one of the issues, and this is one of the reasons why we believe we should force them to work. The Senate, for the better part of 4 or 5 decades, has been in this position where they sit in a quorum call saying we don't have 51 on the floor. And then they sit around and cook up the bill behind closed doors, bring it down. And if they have 60, great. That's usually a pig of a bill that spends money and expands government. Or if they don't, they'll have a show vote. Hey, we tried. We had 51 Republicans who wanted to pass it. And those damn Democrats, they stopped us. Let's go campaign. And then nothing changes. So put it on the floor. Have a debate. The Senate used to be called the greatest deliberative body. Benny, when was the last time you saw true deliberation in the United States Senate? Genuine credit. I'm not being cynical. As a student of civic discourse and of our great republic, when was the last time you saw great discourse on the Senate floor?
In college, I would nerd out and watch on C-SPAN 3 Prime Minister's Questions. And I thought it was like the most wonderful thing that the government leaders of England are dragged down into the well of their legislative body
and debate
and screamed at, and roasted live. And it really is a roast me live, and it would be very good, frankly, for politics. Would Nancy Pelosi, a state speaker? No way. Would Hakeem Jeffries be able to hold his own? No. Right? Like, if you'd had that kind of a system, you wouldn't have a President Joe Biden. That's just a matter of fact. We kind of had that during the they tried to reduce Kamala's runtime as much as they could in 2024 because they knew she would never survive something like that.
Right.
Yeah. A proper cross-examination. Okay. Well, we don't know what else we can possibly do to campaign for this.
I'm
Scott
hopeful.
Pressler straight up sleeping in the hallways of Congress.
Well, Scott and I did a great podcast with the Republican Study Committee. I hope you saw it. It's 25 minutes back and forth explaining that Scott's been doing great work in the Senate, great work in the House, and really, frankly, to the extent that we have 50 in the Senate, it's heavily to do with Scott's work and beating the payment, which shows you that if you go work it and if you apply pressure, they respond. I've seen it over and over again on amnesty questions and other things that the people step up. Like, here's the secret. People in Washington who aren't stupid like me, who, go down and say whatever they think and get themselves in trouble for it. Most of them hold on to their election certificates with a death grip. Their whole reason for being is, I'm a congressman, I'm a senator. And, for those of us who are like, look, I want to be in Texas with my family. I'm here because I want to save the republic. I'm not here because I want to chum around. But if you go challenge the fact that they might lose their election certificate and the people say, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do amnesty. You are going to go fight to ensure that only citizens can vote. Whatever the issue is, they listen. I assure you they listen. And I hope the president tonight in the State of the Union makes an explicit call for this to be pulled up, called up, debated, and passed on the Senate floor.
Yes. What else? What else should he be doing? Is he going to release the UFO files live? What do you think? He's just going to go up there with a bunch of poster boards? Okay, here it is. Here it is, you animals. And he just takes the files, starts slinging them out.
I expect the president will, number one, regale our great and glorious hockey team after their wonderful win on this weekend against Canada. I expect him to give shout out to Angel families who have lost loved ones, to remind the American people what it was like under Biden and Mayorkas and how things are now different. And I think the president should and can take an enormous victory lap of the last 14 months. And we've been undoing decades of damage, certainly the 4 years of Biden, but it goes way back before that. And Republicans that have been selling our republic out like a pack of bologna, one slice at a time. The president has secured the border. The president has removed dangerous illegal aliens. The president has restored dignity to our military, strength to our military. Recruitment levels are up. The president has got our economy moving in the right direction with strong economic growth. We worked together to pass the big, beautiful bill. We got tax cuts put in place. We put Medicaid fraud and a lot of protections against fraud before everybody was talking about fraud. We were leaning into that fight. We cut back half the green new scam subsidies. We put money in place for the Department of Homeland Security, for ICE and Border Patrol, because we knew Democrats would play games. So we now have the money in place to do it while they've got DHS shut down. We have been working to restore order in this country, stand up and establish our position on the world stage. He engaged and he knocked out nuclear capability for Iran. He went in and knocked out Maduro and demonstrated that this hemisphere is an American hemisphere, the Western hemisphere. This is leadership. If we can have 4 years of that with a Republican Congress standing alongside the president, and look, credit where it's due. I've been a critic at times of our leadership in the House and the Senate, but we have a 2-3 seat majority in the House. We've got the Senate dealing with the filibuster issues, and we still got the big, beautiful bill done. We still got the Lake and Riley Act passed. We still passed the SUE Act to allow states to sue the federal government when they fail to secure the border. I could go on, but I don't want to consume the entire time. The president should make that clear. He should regale that, and he should say the one obstacle to you and the American dream are the Democrats who refuse to make this a sovereign nation where you are free to achieve your dreams and your kids' dreams, because they're so beholden to wanting to hold on to power as Democrats, they're willing to sell out their country to do it. The president should stand up and make a clear line in the sand about what he's going to do going forward for the next 3 years and carry that legacy forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're helping him write the speech or not, Congressman. This sounds pretty damn good to me. What you just said there in about 90 seconds, it will take about 90 minutes, but it's good. I mean, I like it. It's great, and I hope that he hits all those notes. But if I may add one more, because you are running again for Attorney General in Texas, we want you to win this seat. We know that you have a critical primary that is happening next week. Is that correct?
Next Tuesday. That's right. They're voting early voting this week. Vote next Tuesday. Yep. Okay.
So Texas Attorney General, this is something that is the trend, the the packaging of the show today is the horror that is happening in Mexico. The U.S. State Department saying that kidnapping is a huge threat that could happen right now. Please, Americans, be safe. Effectively, most of Mexico, the State Department says, don't travel to, including some areas that border Texas that are in total and complete cartel control. How would you, as Attorney General, help ensure that that cartel violence doesn't spill over into the state of Texas, has the longest border with Mexico? And what do you think should be happening right now in order to put down these terrorists? I mean, it's a terrorist operation, right on our border. It sucks.
Yeah, so of course, number one, and thanks for bringing this up, it's so important. I have constituents who live about a mile from me who were held up at gunpoint. Their car was lit on fire. They had to run down the road and go to a resort, hide out, literally hide in a gym. And then now they're in a safe and secure spot. And we hope to get them back here to the United States soon. And I had to call the State Department to do that this morning. But look, when I first got to Congress in 2019, I introduced the first bill to designate cartels as terrorist organizations. I was talking to Tom Homan. I was talking to Derek Maltz. I was talking to a bunch of the leadership on this issue. Brandon Darby does a lot of great work down in Texas on this issue. And we knew this was an important issue. A bunch of Republicans pushed back. They said, oh, Chip, it's not the same as ISIS. You're conflating issues. This is a criminal issue. Hold on. Like, this is our border. This is Mexico and the rest of the Western Hemisphere. They are funneling fentanyl into our country. They're endangering Americans. And now what you see what's happening in Mexico, you see how dangerous it is. The president was right a year ago to do an executive order to declare them as terrorist organizations. I was proud to lead that effort. A lot of that language set the stage for the president's order. I fully support it. And look, as Texas, we have to be vigilant. We need an attorney general. Look, the reason I'm running for attorney general is because Donald Trump is not going to be president forever. And he was the president in 2020. And guess what happened in 2021? Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas tried to destroy our country, set our border on fire, endangered Americans. People like Jocelyn Nungray in Texas got murdered. Rachel Marin, Laken Riley, all of these people that suffered at the consequences of that. We need an attorney general who's going to set the stage and fight, no matter who the president is. When you have a different president, a Democrat president in the future, God forbid, we need to hold the line as Texas, declare an invasion, work to secure the border, fight in courts, but also use the bully pulpit to stand up and say, Texas is not going to allow our state to be run over by a president and a federal administration that doesn't do its job. And let me be clear. I personally worked to insert the SOU Act into the Laken Riley Act on my position on the Rules Committee because of what we fought for in the Speaker's fight 3 years ago. I'm on the Rules Committee. We got the SOU Act in place, which now gives explicit power to states to have standing to sue the federal government if they're failing to secure the border. That is a big damn deal. So as Attorney General, I will use that. Now, I hope not to use that if under the Trump administration, of course. We're working as partners, as we should. I will also force our local governments in Texas to use 287G programs, engage with ICE, engage with DHS to secure our state. And I'm going to make one final point about returning home to Texas on a slightly different note. My guests tonight at the State of the Union are going to be two of the parents of one of the little girls that we lost at Camp Mystic last year in the floods in Kerrville. I represent Kerrville. And I bring that up because it's also one of the reasons that I'm running for Attorney General. I love the state of Texas. I love the people. There's a big cross that stands on the hill in Kerrville. And when all that happened, everyone rallied around the cross. And these two individuals, I sat next to them when they sat next to President Trump and Melania, the First Lady, in Kerrville. And they were professing their faith in Christ a mere week after they lost their little girl, an 8-year-old beautiful little girl in those floods. That's the future of our country, Benny. We have got to stand up against the Islamification of our country. We've got to stop this march. We've got to stop the epic cities. We've got to stop 300 mosques and growing in Texas. This is a war against the culture that built not just this country, but Western civilization in this world. And that's why I'm running for Attorney General. I'm proud to have them as my guests. I'm proud of their profession of faith. There's no purpose to living free, Benny, if we're not spreading the gospel of Christ and living under our Judeo-Christian principles for the betterment of humanity. So I know that's a lot, but I feel strongly about it.
Yes. Well, you also demonstrated exactly why you'd be a good Trump speechwriter and also a good attorney general for the great state of Texas. Make Texas Texas again, I think.
Amen.
Is a great slogan. And goodness, there are some worrying trends, frankly, right now in that state. The left's always wanted to claim the crown jewel of Texas as their own. Chip Roy is a man who would fight back against it. And is there any wall to be completed? Would you build the wall, Chip? Everybody needs to follow Chip right here.
Yeah, I mean, 100% working with the governor to make sure, look, the president's doing a great job. But you know what? We were starting to build the wall, but Texas should work with the federal government to get the wall built. If they won't do it, we should. But importantly, Texas has to draw a line in the sand and say, we're not going to allow the federal government to use asylum and parole and blatantly disregard the law and abuse the law to flood our state with dangerous individuals. We will stop the flow at the border. We need to make that clear that no matter who the president is, that will never happen again to Texas.
Yes. God bless you, Congressman, and Godspeed in your critical election 1 week from today. We are with you. Everybody follow Chip Roy right here. 500,000 Americans already do. Thank you.
Thanks, Benny. God bless. ChipRoy.com. Send me some dollars. I'm running against a self-funder who's trying to buy his way into office, and we're doing well. We're holding the line, but appreciate the support. God bless you, and I'll wave down there at the State of the Union on the floor tonight.
God. Thank you. Thank you, Congressman. See ya.
See you.
ZipRecruiter, ladies and gentlemen, will help you make great hires like our next guest. Ooh, man. Our next guest is the owner of Jimmy's Seafood in Baltimore that went thermonuclear viral and ratioing the Huffington Post this week. It's just great. I just love this show. I love having guests like this. Anyway, Jimmy, and the man's name is John. John has a great spirit and a great sense of a wonderful way to run his business. It's been an incredible moment for Jimmy's Seafood. John obviously knows what he's doing. Maybe John uses ZipRecruiter. If you want to run your business and get skills-based hiring that emphasizes capabilities over education or letters behind your name or indirect experiences, or people who are just straight up lying on their resumes, to sift through all the garbage resumes you get, right? Every time we open up a position at our company, we get thousands of resumes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you need ZipRecruiter. Their smart screening questions help get you the perfect match for a hire. You can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Benny. ZipRecruiter.com/Benny. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds qualified candidates fast. They have done this for us. Killer Klein hire from ZipRecruiter. Where would we be without him, ladies and gentlemen? Truly. If you want to see who's recently active, ZipRecruiter filters show you who is the #1 rated applicant for your position, match you up, verify them, ladies and gentlemen, get you that hire to make your company hit. Let's go, baby. Lock in right now with ZipRecruiter. Help find amazing candidates for the skills that you seek. 4 out of 5 employers already post on ZipRecruiter, and now it's time for you to try it for free. ZipRecruiter.com/Benny. ZipRecruiter.com/Benny. All right. A man who clearly knows how to run a business, John Miandakis, is joining the program live for the first time, the owner of Jimmy's Seafood. John Miandakis. I'm sorry, man. This is Greek. You're going to have to help me out, man.
Yeah, the first day of school is always interesting. Miandakis, but, people butcher the name all the time. It is what it is, yeah.
Miandakis. All right. You know what? That was pretty close. Hey, man, this is the banger. I wanted to, I think my team told me you're broadcasting actually from the store right now, from the restaurant right now. And you guys ratioed into the sun with nearly 17 million views right now, 20,000 reposts, and 264,000 likes. The America-hating Huffington Post that said you shouldn't be proud of your country. Did you send this tweet?
Yeah, it was right after the game. What a game. What a game, and what a moment for all of us. Anybody that watched that game, it's just one of those moments where you know exactly where you were, you know exactly who you were with, and you just remember it forever. It's a core memory, no matter your age. It was just a special moment, not only for sports, but for our country.
Yes. Okay, so this was, I was following some of your guys' posts, and it sounded like you had a full house, at your restaurant. This is, again, Jimmy's Seafood Restaurant in Baltimore. And you just decided to, from the brand, just go and nuke the Huffington Post. You're like, what inspired this?
Yes, it's a bar and a restaurant. So we opened up at 7:30 on Sunday. Place was packed. Didn't know what to expect, obviously. On 1 day notice, announcing you're going to be opening that early. And we did a free brunch buffet, and just so many people turned out. It was beautiful. They were lined up outside at 7 o'clock. And obviously the game was a roller coaster of emotions until, of course, we won in overtime. And anybody that was on social media after the win saw so many beautiful images, right? You saw Johnny Hockey's team on the ice. You saw Jack with his teeth missing, smacking the glass. And then all of a sudden in the middle of it, you see, hey, you shouldn't be cheering for these athletes. And it was just from here to here to here, send.
Yeah, go after yourself. This is an appropriate image for what actually happened that day on social media. A lot of people supporting you, but now the aftermath of that has really brought a lot of attention on your restaurant, and a lot of people, I think, have been ordering, getting seafood shipped out. Can you tell me about what the response has been?
I could try to articulate it, but I would fail terribly. It's just been the most overwhelming 2 days of my entire life. And I've been working here since I was born. We lived on top of the restaurant when we were kids. So I was born in the business, and it's just been something, yes, it's the days that you pray for, honestly. It's just beyond measure. Just so many orders coming in, people coming in, obviously, people obviously just giving words of encouragement. And it's just, it's hard to put into words. It's been just beautiful, man.
Has it been like a record level sales for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you have online orders too. Have there been like online orders from around the country?
Yes, sir. We're going to be doing some 24-hour shifts here to get all these boxes filled and shipped out. And, we like to call each guest individually. So we still want to keep that tradition going. It's a life-changing moment. Off of 3 words following a hockey game. I did put $100 on the USA to win the game, but we put some money in the collection basket in church after they came through. But it's been crazy. I'm lost for words.
So you've seen orders from around the country. I mean, I've obviously seen incredible attention to the restaurant itself. You were open in spite of the blizzard as well. Just like incredibly hardworking family. Can you tell me quickly the story of Jimmy's Seafood?
I would love to. So my father was actually a Greek immigrant. He came over here in the late 60s, worked in PA and DC as a busboy and a dishwasher and other blue-collar jobs, obviously, that immigrants were able to do back then because he didn't know the language, didn't have a dollar to his name. And then he, in 1974, purchased this, where I'm at right now, known as Jimmy's Famous Seafood now. We lived on top of the restaurant, and the bar and the carry-out were downstairs, and he built on it, dining room and catering halls. And then in 2003, actually, he passed away from throat cancer. And that's when myself and my brothers took over. We were 20, 18, and 16 at the time. So as you can imagine, a lot of growing pains along the way. But, we stuck with it. My father led by example, not a man of many words. And we just took that hard work and tried to live it out. And every day you get a little bit better and figure it out. So, we've been blessed, obviously, to make it this far, and 52 years in business now. We don't live on top of the restaurant anymore, but myself and my brother, we're still here, pretty much every day, just loving it.
It's pretty amazing. It's wonderful to hear. And I bet you guys are packed out for lunch and dinner now in Baltimore. It's great. I'm in Baltimore. We're in Baltimore often, actually. I look forward to hopefully getting up there, and hopefully we can come and enjoy some of this food. It looks delicious. So pop up the website. This looks like an amazing. This looks like an amazing restaurant, man. I would take a crab cake. What would be your recommendation on the menu here?
Crab cakes are what we're known for. Obviously, stuffed shrimp is my personal favorite. When people come, a lot of my friends, they order the steaks. Like we always say, don't sleep on the steaks.
Yeah.
My brother takes a lot of pride in what he does in the kitchen. So, you really can't go wrong. I'm sure every restaurant you go to tells you that. But, just being born in the business and grinding and learning recipes from our culture and other cultures.
Yep. When you get a phone call, that totally happens. Yep. So we heard you loud and clear. Here we go. It's Jimmy's Seafood. It's jimmysfamousseafood.com. This is the website. Yes, you can see the American crab cake right there. Big hockey fan. What would you? Apparently, the hockey team is going to be at the State of the Union tonight. President Trump's going to be honoring them. What would you like to see tonight?
Man, I saw somebody said it should just be a big kegger, and I agree. I think what those guys pulled off. It's going to be a movie one day. Probably many movies. That I wasn't around for the Miracle on Ice, but I would imagine this is what it felt like. Just an overwhelming sense of love and patriotism and everything that makes this place great. Sport unifies people, as Mike Tirico mentioned during the broadcast. The way that they won, the 3-on-5 power play, Jack having his teeth knocked out. It's just, I can't, we're Greek American, and winning the Euro Cup in 2004 is the only time that I've enjoyed a sense of pride like this.
It really is beautiful. We have a final closer here, the live shot of Jimmy's Seafood. If you're in the Baltimore, if you're in the greater DMV area, couldn't recommend it enough. And we very much look forward to visiting you guys when we are back as well. Let's do the live shot of the actual Jimmy's Seafood bar responding. Yep, let's listen in. Oh, okay, there you go. Okay, we can at least see it right here. Absolute pandemonium.
Yeah,
as you said, a core memory. It's great to be an American. Sports matter, man. Like, your culture matters. Your pride in your country matters. People that sort of like brush off these things I don't think understand what an actual culture war is. How important it is to have victories and wins and to be uplifted as a people, and to have stories like you and your family. That like makes us a great warrior class, and people should appreciate that. And we're thankful for you guys doing that. Thank you, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Jimmy Seafood, ladies and gentlemen. Follow him right here. And then you can also follow John. I think we have your X account also right here. Okay. It's nice to be nice. Thank you, John. God bless you, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Fun show. We always love having patriots on the program. We'll see what happens tonight. Wait, who knows? Who knows? I'll explain what happened. So yesterday they were canceling all these flights, and we thought there was going to be a blizzard that hit DC and just shut down everything. There's a blizzard that hits everywhere. A blizzard hit ALX. Danny's a producer. He lives in DC. He can't get back. So we were just like, well, instead of forcing the whole issue, we might as well just like cut our losses early and just say, if it's going to be FUBAR, we're just going to do the show from here. Now, today, they've reopened up flights. And so we're working with the Speaker's office to see if we can't go there and do our show from inside the Capitol. Either way, we'll be live. We'll be live at 7 o'clock tonight for the State of the Union. Let's go ahead and check the markets. What is President Trump going to say at the State of the Union? Let's go. Here we go. President Trump, 84%. He says the word America 50 times. 25 times is 96%. Jobs, million, billion, trillion. Biden, I'm not sure he's going to talk about Biden that much. Border, oil, AI. Yeah. Kamala Harris, that'd be a tough one. I don't know. President Trump has been talking a little bit. Let's do this as a final story. President Trump has been talking about Gavin Newsom. He said that Gavin Newsom's career is effectively over after multiple hilarious blunders. I felt kind of bad. I actually talked with my pastor about this because I made naughty jokes about Kamala Harris and her history with Willie Brown. And the reason why I did this yesterday is that there's a clip of Kamala Harris is being played, and she's on a pulpit. She's on a pulpit, and she's quoting scripture. These people, check your fruit, it says in the Bible, right? They actually believe the things that they're saying. They believe the things that they're saying. Well, they wouldn't be for abortion up to and after birth. They wouldn't be for these demonic practices. They wouldn't be for open borders, let these cartels come across rape, pillage, and plunder our nation. You know, it's like terrible. And so I was like angry about it. And I was like, well, you know, Kamala Harris, she wouldn't have a career without Willie Brown. Willie Brown was her boss. This is well documented, by the way. Willie Brown was her married boss. That Kamala was, while he was married and the mayor of San Francisco, Kamala was his girlfriend. That's just a matter of fact. And Kamala was given all these, was lavished with all these gifts because Willie Brown, who was like in his 70s and Kamala was like in her 20s or 30s, you know, Kamala Harris was lavished with all these gifts, given all these sinecures, given all these like special promotions, given all this stuff because, well, Willie Brown's girlfriend while he was married as the mayor of San Francisco. There's this hilarious clip of Kamala Harris being asked about this, like, are you his daughter? There's this really funny moment where Kamala Harris, like this old clip, Kamala Harris is like wandering around on his arm, and people are like, are you his daughter? And she's like, no, I'm his girlfriend. It's like, Jeff, you haven't. It's really humiliating. Anyway, I just want to let you know, I'm not trying to be, you know, maybe I am trying to be mean. I'm just like, this is the story of Kamala Harris. Here's the actual clip. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Are you his daughter? No, I'm not.
And fast cars.
Okay.
Fine women.
So anyway, I made this joke. Maybe it was a little naughty, and do my best. I'm failed. I'm a simple Christian, and I have shortcomings. We talk about them all the time, actually. Saved by God's grace, and so you do your best. But you can see Kamala Harris right there in the footage. Do that. Him at the podium, like there, the very, you know, like you can see Kamala Harris. Look at her. Look at that. She's like boxing out Willie Brown's wife. Like, get out of here. It's like, you know, get out of here. And so this is the true story of Kamala Harris's rise in California politics. It's kind of gross. And here comes Gavin Newsom. Little did I know that my little guilty Christian heart would be finding cold comfort in Gavin Newsom saying the exact same thing yesterday. Oh boy. Oh no. Check this out.
And for those that don't know Willie Brown, you wouldn't know Kamala Harris without Willie Brown.
Look at his face when he says
elected the same.
Look at his face when he says it. Look at this expression. He knows what he's doing. Look, he smiles. He knows what he's doing. He is saying now Gavin Newsom was around during these years. He knows exactly what was up. Gavin Newsom, of course, has his own extremely seedy San Francisco mayoral history. We've covered it many times, sometimes very publicly. Nuked and ratioed Gavin Newsom for this. It is what it is. Donald Trump saying, wow, Gavin Newsom just dropped out of the presidential race. President DJT. Okay. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what Trump talks about tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be live one way or another. Please join us. And we just want to say God bless you on this beautiful Tuesday morning. It is beautiful here. I know many have been snowed in and blizzarded in. We pray for you. Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. Nehemiah 10, 8 to 10, correction. Do not grieve. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Be joyful. Be appreciative. Gratitude is the least practiced virtue, I think, especially in Western civilization. Nobody has any gratitude. And it sucks. And it's nice to see it, actually. And it's nice to see it. It's like this is oversharing. That's what we do on this program. This is my goal for the year 2026. To practice actual gratitude. And it's something that I'm very bad at. And gratitude for everything. Like when my 5-year-old daughter prays, she thanks God for the air in the world at the dinner table. That's what she does. And so where'd that go? Right? This is why children are so precious to God, why you must protect them. So where'd that go? So I'm trying to refine that. You know, you cover enough Epstein list, you do enough live shows, you do enough videos, and we're constantly working. Christmas morning, New Year's Eve, all we're just workaholics. It just is how I'm built. You can sometimes get black-pilled. Honestly, you stare into enough dark news cycles, you can get black-pilled, get a little hard edge on you. So I'm doing my best and praying about that. to find the joy of the Lord again and make that my strength. It's my own personal Vietnam, right? As President Trump would say. We'll be hearing from President Trump tonight. Please join us. It's your boy Benny. March with us on to victory that is assured. See ya.
The President of the United States.
Truth gon' be faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.